Alright, welcome back to the SuperCoach Enough channel. In this video, we're going to do the final round one team reveal for the 2026 NRL SuperCoach season. So as you can see, we've already got a few players locked away due to the Vegas games, but we still have 16 or 17 spots even to account for. Still got a fair chunk of budget. So without further ado, we will get into it. So we'll go in the order top to bottom. So starting at hooker. And so with the round one teams named, we've decided to go with Kurt Donahue as our second hooker. So 497k, dual position now, second row and hooker. We've seen him be able to play big minutes, even potentially 80 minutes. They're in the 9 jersey, workaholic, will tackle, does have the ability to create a bit with the ball as well. So they do have a bench option with, I believe it's Wolf, the young bench hooker, but he may not necessarily play given the makeup of the rest of their bench. So I do like Donahue as an option, and now he's at hooker in a position that I'm not particularly, enamoured with. I thought great opportunity to get him in. Front row forward, the first one probably doesn't need a lot of explanation. Payne Haas, potential to be number one player in the game, definitely number one front rower. So yeah, just set and forget. Captaincy option every week. Pretty easy decision there. Front row 3 is probably the one that I've been tossing up the most, but I have decided to lean towards Paseka if I can find him. So you can see Colquhoun at around the same price, has been in the team. The dual position's handy. Obviously, the initial job security is nice. But just with Paseka and with some of the other picks in the team, I just thought I don't want to waste another trade in the front row. There might be potentially an upgrade occur at some point in the season, and maybe a downgrade to enough later in the season once we get a bit closer to the squad. But want to use the other trades to sort of flesh out other parts of my team, I think. So Paseka's got that spot for the season. He is the number one front rower there at Manly. Um, with even averaging 48, that'll be a good bit of cash. And then he is a playable option if we're struggling in bye weeks. So happy to have Paseka in the team. And then finally, front row forward 4. A little bit of a gift from the team list Tuesday guides. I've gone too far. Can't find him. But Arama Howe gets the nod for the vacant second row spot thanks to David Fafita moving on. And the fact that he was originally only front row eligible, he's now become dual position eligible. So dual position, 235k, should get 80 minutes in that role, has shown a decent PPM in the past. All good signs. Happy to lock him into the front row. Onto the second row, and I did just mention him, but probably doesn't take a rocket scientist to work out that second row 2 is Dave Fafita, or second row 1 in fact, because he's more expensive than Heel and Lukey. We all know the upside that he's capable of. He's in 64% of teams. I don't need to say too much else other than lock him in. So then, second row 3, I'm going with Tom Gilbert. So I think the last update I had Jermaine Hopgood there in the team. But given Tom Gilbert's about 50k cheaper, and I think he's going to play that same role of that, big minute front rower. If you look through the team list, you can pretty quickly identify them in the team. The Dolphins are probably one where it didn't really stand out until Tom Gilbert's now made that move. So locking him in, obviously again dual position flexibility is nice. I think he's going to get a good bump in minutes. We know his PPM is good, particularly when he's playing in the middle. Um, so yeah, Tom Gilbert in the team. On the bench, couple of cheapies, lots of cheapie options available. But the first one I'm going with is Jacob Laban. So teased this a little bit last year, and so a lot of people could sort of put Joe Chan in this same category. When Joe Chan got that start, and it didn't quite work out for him. It didn't quite work out for Laban either. He started in the Indigenous game last year. He started in the trial, and we thought, yeah, beauty, we've got a nice cheap option. In the end, they didn't start with him. But 12 months down the track, they've given him the start in round one. Maybe a little bit of a question mark with Niakure and his role, but I imagine he'll come off the bench as a bit of a middle rotation edge cover if needed. Um, and particularly if they're going to play Halasima on the edge off the bench, I think they're going to go with Niakure solely as a middle. So uh, Laban's got the PPM, um, got the role now, so hopefully he can keep it. And then the other bench option, and this mostly comes down to price, but Cooper Buy at 235k. Not too sure of how that middle rotation is going to work at the Titans, so what his minutes are, not too sure. But he is probably more of a slow burn type option. If he gets the minutes, we'll back that his PPM is good and he'll get the points. Um, but happy just to park him there at second row six. Don't necessarily need to play him in any given week. Just need him to slowly accumulate cash. The halves, probably not too much different here. Nathan Cleary, you know, 10 points above the next best in terms of average. Happy to lock him in. Cam Munster did flirt with going back to Cody Walker, but realistically, didn't know where I would want to upgrade in the rest of the squad. Um, so we'll just set and forget Cam Munster. Um, pair him up with Jonah Pezzett. Again, pretty straightforward. 74% ownership. So don't need to spend too much time talking you into that. The centre wing. So going with Farnworth and Eero as the two guns, as has been for most of pre-season. We all know what Herbie can do. Hopefully, he hits the ground running this season. Kale Eero as well, big fan of his. Sharks, good draw to start the season by all reports. So happy to lock him in as a premium option. And then on the bench, got a couple of cheapy spots. So well, actually not two cheapy spots. I've still got a gun spot because we played set 2-2. So he is underpriced. So if you want to call that a cheapie, but Brian Toto, big fan of his price point and obviously what he can produce. Hopefully, has put that hamstring injury that he had last year in the back window and has a massive season coming up. And then Fayamani from the Titans is the other option. Bottom dollar, playing off the wing. From all reports, a bit of a Brian Tyre clone, which I'm absolutely here for. At fullback, going to go with Keanu Kinney. Um, you know, potentially underpriced for what he can produce. Bit of a question mark now with Jaden Campbell missing the first few weeks, but does potentially mean that he needs to stand up even more. So could be a blessing in disguise. But Keanu Kinney is locked in for round one. And then in the flex, I'm sticking with the two cheap halfbacks, Ethan Sanders. Think he will make money. How quickly he makes money remains to be seen, um, but we'll back him in early doors, particularly with the round one fixture against Manly. I know it's at Four Pines, but I am backing the Raiders in. So um, yeah, Ethan Sanders is in the flex. So in terms of the bench, if I save the team, Going to get Donahue on field, To'o, Fayamani, and Kinney. So pretty much, yeah, the back line I think is the same as my previous update. It's just been this change in the forwards with the dual position eligibilities, creating a bit more flexibility to structure the team in a way that I'm pretty happy with. We already had Drinky as the VC. We'll just stick with Payne Haas as the captain week one. Nothing silly. Just keep it nice and basic, and we'll go from there. So, yeah, that's the team going into round one. As always, if you've got any questions, comments, thoughts, feel free to add them below this video. Give us a like if you enjoy the NRL SuperCoach content. Subscribe for all the fantasy sports content on the channel. And other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.